The 20XX Vehicle Multi-Tool is a modular device that allows you to clean, buff, and polish your car all in one tool, just by simply removing the heads. The idea for this device came from talking to different vehicle owners in Isla Vista, who are usually young and don't have the tools to properly take care of the finish on their car. That would involve going to a car wash, getting your car polished professionally, which can cost a lot of money that college students don't have. So that inspiration kind of guided our design process for this.
This tool is great for many casual car owners in Isla Vista, including many members of our team. Being casual car owners, we end up with a lot of scratches or blemishes on the body of our car that aren't necessarily easy to fix. It'll cost you $90 to $250 for your own buffer tool to go buy, bring back home and buff out yourself. It'll cost you upwards of $250 if you take it into a body shop. So cost was one of the big benchmarks that we were looking for in the vehicle multi-tool.
We started off looking at, a hand blender, sort of the most readily available example of a handheld tool powered by rotary motion and a motor.
We wanted to make sure the vehicle multi-tool was very durable, long use, repeated use, able to really maintain its value in the long run. Portability and storability. We want to make sure it was compact, yet still able to do the job that the tool is set out to do. Those were some of the specifications that we wanted to nail down with our benchmarks and improve on in the vehicle multi-tool.
That our original designs kind of did reflect the hand blender in a way. But as we realized that having a wide cleaning area or wide buffing area was an important characteristic or a benchmark we wanted to get to, the design started to take shape in a little bit more of a implementable and a little bit more of a smarter approach. And that's how we eventually arrived at the case we have, is that we wanted to get a wide cleaning area as well as have comfortable mounting for the handles. Looking at installing a drive shaft and a scrubber plate and a motor requires a lot of components. Luckily, McMaster-Carr had a very comprehensive website that we were able to find, essential components to being able to operate a drive shaft. You have bearings, you have things like couplings, and I was looking at the specifics of the motors based off of Kevin's calculations and figuring out exactly what kind of components we needed to get the job done.
We built this casing out of fiberglass, although we initially planned on using the 3D printer to print it. In order to fiberglass, at first we needed to make molds using foam to fiberglass over. To do this, we printed out small cross sections from our CAD drawings and cut out half-inch pieces of foam and stacked them up properly so that we would make an initial mold. From that mold, we taped the mold together, coated it with Vaseline, and then began the fiberglassing process.
When choosing a motor for our car multi-tool, we looked at standard industry benchmarks for different buffers and to find the correct RPM and power output. We found a 12 DC volt motor, and that spun at 2000 RPM because we didn't want to do any gear reduction throughout our product due to the limited space.
In the control circuit for this motor, we used a Teensy Arduino microcontroller combined with an integrated L298M motor driver circuit, potentiometer for speed control, and a power switch.
So for testing this device, we wanted to test all three functions of the 20XX Vehicle Multi-Tool. It had to be able to clean, to polish, and to buff out minor scratches. So the 20XX Multi-Tool accomplishes this by having these modular heads that Velcro on and off of this pad, as you can see. So when doing testing, we found that the wool head effectively cleaned all dirt and residue from the surface of the vehicle. The orange foam head with a slightly coarser grain size was able to capably polish the vehicle, and the black finishing tool removed all minor scratches. And the fluids used for this was a simple windshield wiper fluid, which was chosen because it is easily rinsable and leaves a spot-free finish. A polishing wax, purchased from Home Depot, and a scratch-removing foam. These three things, used in conjunction with these pads, were able to satisfy all of our benchmarks and remove all blemishes on the vehicle except for very deep scratches, which even an at-home buffer professionally made would not be able to do. It would require body shop maintenance.
If we were to do this in a standard manufacturing setting, we would have decided to use injection molding larger 3D printer to when we eventually bring this out onto the mass market.